Distribution chart. It is used to display the distribution of values. So if you are coming from a perspective that you want to show a distribution of many things, then these charts can help you place your values on a time scale basis or a period scale basis or any other basis and show it to you what are their volumes like. For example, a clustered column chart or a line chart can be used over here. Then there is a histogram chart, then there is a box and a whisker chart, candlestick chart that we have by now very well know where it is used, a dot plot, a typical thing where one falls over the other, a dot plot. Then there is a shuttler's detection chart. Then there is another clustered column and tornado chart. So basically, when you want to show something as a distribution of values over a period of time or any other measure, or that can be done using these charts. Similarly, there is something known as correlation chart, wherein to show correlation between the measures. So when I use, for example, a typical example is line and a clustered column chart, wherein I have something in terms of a bar chart. It can be a sales for product A and B in this example. In like here, sales for product A and B over a period of time. At the same time, I want to see the probably volume or something totally different, but and which occurs over a period of time. It can be for sales, it can be raw materials or season or growth, right, of something, or a share price of that thing, of that company. The share price is not directly related to the sale, but yes, share prices changes over a period of time. So if there are two distinct measures which are only loosely coupled on a one basis, which is time, or any other basis, then you can make use of a correlation measures. Which why are these required? These are required because if you want to draw attention of an impact of certain items on another, then these charts help you identify those impacts. And wherever you see the alphabet R is in, then the R is required in your visuals and your Power BI and desktop application. Then again, this is again a line and a stack chart. So when you have a two distinct, in short, if I have to brief you on this correlation chart, it would be like when you have to add, if you want to represent more than one or a different kinds of measures which are not compatible directly and they are varied but they have commonality in place, then you can make use of this correlation chart. Next, then there is a single value chart. Single value chart are best known as cards, and these are the KPI charts wherein they aggregate a value of any particular measure or a column or any calculation and give you a single figure. These are most prominently used by the high level execs in your organization, which detect the health of the organization by looking at these values. For example, the revenue for the day, the cost for the day, current liabilities. In terms of banking, there would be a ratio, the repo rate, the reverse repo rate. For example, a gold rate, a silver rate, for example, any other single, or a pass percentage, or the QA test percentage. So these are single unit values which identify the worthiness of your entire gamut of things, and using this single value. For example, this you can understand. If I have to draw an analogy, you can compare it with a thermometer. Thermometer displays temperature, and if the temperature goes beyond a particular value, that is 98 degrees Fahrenheit, then it means the something is wrong. Similarly, a single value available in these charts can be easily made use of to identify the anomaly in the system if there is. And these are indicators, these are KPIs, these are key performance indicators which converts entire gamut into a single numeric value, which is good enough for the management to take a decision. and helps the decision making process faster. So what are these charts? These are cards by status okay Viz. Then there is a card default given to us by the Power BI desktop. Then there is multi-row card, which includes lot many KPIs. Then there is a tabular card. Then there is a matrix. Then there is a KPI ticker, which is like shows a difference over a previous day or something. Then there's a scroller chart. If you want a marquee scroll running over to your visualization report, you can have that in place. Then there's a user list by Cloud Scope. Then there's a timeline by Cloud Scope. Then there's a multi KPI. If you have more than one KPI, singular values, you can do that. Then there's a collage. Then there's KPI indicator. Then there is advanced card. Then there's rotation. Then there's Acteria, gauge, tachometer, dial gauge, circle KPI. So these represent single value and which can have at least one or two attribute to it, but however those single values are good enough for the decision maker to rely their decision on. Then there are filters chart. These are different kinds of slicers and filters available which helps you control the content used and displayed on the system and accordingly show the values of the selected content. For example, if you are working on different products, you can select a particular product. If you are working on multiple regions in your chart, then you can choose a select single region. Then if you are working on attribute slicer, then you can change the attribute value and find a range. Then there is a smart filter. Then there is a chiclet filter. If there are countable items of your filtration, you can have those button kind of a thing wherein you can click and similarly that data pertaining to that particular selected item only gets displayed and considered for visualization. Then there is a time slicer. Time slicer, out of all the dates what you're looking for, you can specifically denote which date you would like to have the data represented on the visualization on. Usually it belongs to a current day, current month, etc. Right. Then there is an enlightened slicer. Then there is an hierarchy slicer. Hierarchy slicer typically works on for typically if you have a sales hierarchy in place and you're working on a sales data, then you would have your global head having lot many national heads under him, and national heads would have lot many state heads or a region heads, and then there would be a city heads, and there would be a ground level salesperson. So that's kind of a hierarchy. It also can have your organizational hierarchy coming from a CEO to the ground level person. It can have as many hierarchies of whatever things which can be made into hierarchy represented in this hierarchy slicer. Also remember, like we saw it in the earlier discussion, that these slicers have lots of overhead. Use it sparingly, and therefore it improves the performance of your overall Power BI visuals, reports, and dashboards.